Tonight on Joy News Prime, government announces arrest of 3 persons it says were planning to destabilize the country by targeting the presidency. Mothers of children with special needs want government to offer free health care to them.
How about making the health insurance policy free for parents with children with complex health needs? I mean, general, let's say for the first 5 years.
Ashanti Region NDC Secretary apologizes for comments described as insulting to the Chohene Amoto for repaying. The apology is, however, just one of several demands being made by the Chim Ebuakwa Traditional Council.
Within 3 days, a direct, clear, and unambiguous public apology be rendered by the leadership of the National Democratic Congress to His Royal Majesty the Chohene.
In business.
As GRA boss Kofi Nte retires next month, we examine his legacy.
And family of a 38-year-old man accused of impregnating a 16-year-old girl is accusing the police of severely bruising his genitals during an attempt to arrest him over the allegation. And Mr. Lion, Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio. Akoko Mlemle here in Accra with digital address GA0992539. Stay tuned in. Government has announced the arrest of 3 persons it says were planning to destabilize the country through an armed revolt targeted at the presidency. A joint security operation involving Defense Intelligence, the BNI and CID is said to have neutralized what it calls an elaborate plot. A statement issued by the Information Ministry says the operation also led to the retrieval of several arms, explosive devices and ammunition from locations including the Citadel Hospital at Halajo in Accra and at another site at Baaleshi near Dodoa. Maxwell Agogba has more from the statement.
The joint security operation was carried out by personnel drawn from Defense Intelligence, CID and Bureau of National Investigations BNI. The statement says the arrest and seizure come after 15 months of surveillance and gathering of evidence on the activities of the prime suspects and others. The persons arrested are Dr. Frederick Yao Makpam and his 2 accomplices, Mr. Exo Kafui, a local weapon manufacturer, and Mr. Bright Alan Debra Ofusu, aka BB or ADC. The suspects, the statement says, had contacted a number of 7 military personnel and talked them into hatching and executing a plot to obtain weapons, take over key installations, and secure funding for the purpose of taking over the reins of government. They also formed a group called Take Action Ghana, under the guise of mobilizing the youth for nation building, education, health, and providing shelter to the needy. The statement says the evidence available shows the intent was to build a support base of youth and radicalize them against the political authority in Ghana. This was hatched with the support of US-based Ghanaians Kennedy Amwa and Dr. Albert Sam. They also set a workshop to produce locally made weapons and improvised explosive devices, IEDs, for the operation on the premises of Citadel Hospital. They also secured from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital some essential chemicals to be mixed with gunpowder, stone chippings, surgical needles, and powdered pepper for the operations. It is alleged that they also contracted a worker at the base workshop in Burma camp to supply 10 AK-47 rifles and made an advance payment of 7,000 Ghana cedis. They even tested the locally manufactured weapons close to the Laboma beach here in Accra. The IEDs and all the exhibits are currently in the custody of the BNI. Government has meanwhile asked the public to remain calm as investigations continue.
Right, and joining me on the phone line now is Colonel Festus Abwaje, who's a security analyst, to help us analyze this statement that we're getting from the government. Now, thank you very much for speaking with us, Colonel Festus, Colonel Retired Festus Abwaje. What I'd want to find out from you, what do you make of this statement that's coming from government regarding what we believe or we should see as a coup attempt?
Well, Well, as I said on your radio platform, I don't want to put words in the mouth of the government or the state. So if the state fell short of calling it a coup attempt, I don't want to describe it as such. So I want to call it as they called it, as an attempt to target and undermine the presidency, which itself is a bit vague. So presidency can be the individual who holds that office. It could be the office. It could be the geographical facility, Jubilee House, Flagstaff House, whatever it is. It could be the constitutional arrangement around that institution. The statement is not too precise as to what it is that, is unfolding.
Now, Colonel Abuaje, looking at what the statement that we have, it all but calls it a coup attempt. Why would government want to put out a statement, as you put it, that is this vague?
Well, I have explained elsewhere that I see three angles to this narrative. One angle is the mobilization angle. There is some evidence provided by the government that the doctor, who is at the center of the group, has been active in engaging in some mobilization efforts. Indeed, I have spoken to an individual whose name I will not mention, who is aware that this doctor has been involved in that kind of mobilization activity. Now, as to whether that mobilization activity was of a purely political nature, purely social nature, purely, civic nature, it's not too clear from this narrative. And I don't think the government has provided sufficient evidence as to how many people have been influenced, radicalized, to join that group in order to carry out whatever the objectives of the group are. The other angle could be pure criminality. Indeed, that would have probably sold to many Ghanaians, given the context of criminality that we are all witnessing within the country. So if this gentleman and his group were merely acquiring weapons, selling them, manufacturing them, selling them to criminal individuals or some other individuals who are not certified by the CID to, acquire those weapons. Nevertheless, criminality could be one angle. The more serious angle, which is where the issue is this allegation or the allusion to a coup attempt, an attempt to destabilize the state or subvert the state. The evidence that the government has provided, to me, from a professional perspective, is not sufficient.
Why do you say that?
I say that because the number of weapons and munitions that are listed in the statement probably will not be enough to even take a checkpoint. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
All right.
So, if indeed the statement says that the individuals were going to target certain infrastructure, obviously the Jubilee House, which is the seat of the government, could be one. Unfortunately for us, these days we have many more broadcasting institutions. Whether you like it or not, you need to make an announcement. So when we only had one broadcasting station, the GBC, it was very easy. You just took GBC, and then you spread your information. Now, you can take GBC, you can take Joy FM, you can take Adum, you can take whatever. You are still left with hundreds of other media channels, TV, radio, electronic, that you need to, contest with. And I'm not sure whether these armaments and munitions are sufficient to neutralize Bemakam, neutralize Army headquarters, neutralize Ministry of Defense, target the national security, infrastructure, the presidency, and so on and so forth. Again,
can Officer Sobaji, I'm just looking at, I just want to play the devil's advocate at this point, because you're talking about the ammunition that has been cited or listed. 5 locally manufactured pistols with magazines fitted on, 1 foreign pistol, 3 locally manufactured pistol barrels, 3 smoke grenades, 22 improvised explosive devices, and they also talk about 9 by 7.62 millimeter NATO AK-47 rounds. Could it be that these things that they have listed, or they were just at the foundation stage, and that this could have metamorphosed into something more elaborate?
That could be a possibility. So I've argued that if indeed the narrative has substance in it, then the government has acted a bit premature. Now, I don't know what it means by NATO AK-47, because NATO doesn't use AK-47. So it could be another description of a certain weapon.
All right.
The grenades are smoke grenades. You see what I mean? They're not fragmentation grenades that will burst and spread shrapnel and so on.
Or kill.
Spread smoke.
All right.
So when I put all of this together, the numbers of individuals involved, the types of weapons involved, the number and natures of ammunition involved, I don't see any plan. Now, the government has also not told us whether some of the military personnel were part of the sting operation or had already been recruited by this group. So there is a bit of concern because our recent history, especially during the revolution, shows that it wasn't one group that was attempting to overthrow the state. At one time, there were about 3 groups. You see what I mean? So if the government has acted prematurely, it might have compromised its own effort to identify other cells that may be part of this plot. Again, I do not understand the role of the, if you like, call them the check, those who write the check, those 2 individuals in the state. Have they indeed wired some funds to this guy? Or they were in the process of raising funds in the states to come and support the effort? I don't see any plan. So as to the concept of how they're going to roll out or implement the plan, and who exactly is to play what role, who goes to the Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, who goes to whichever ministry, who neutralizes certain installations, broadcasting otherwise, including Burma and so on and so forth. All of this is not clear.
All right.
So I find it a bit far-fetched at this stage, based on the information that the government has provided, to suggest that somebody was planning to overthrow the state.
All right. Thank you very much, Colonel.
You're welcome.
Colonel Retired Festus Abuaji is a security analyst there, and he was taking a look at the statement that has been put out by government regarding an attempt, what he describes as an attempt to destabilize the country, targeting the presidency. Moving on, the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, Kwame Zu, has apologized to the Ochehenia Osejefo Amwite for paying and the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council for some comments described as insulting of the overlord. The said comments were the basis for a demonstration on Monday by the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council, giving the leadership of the National Democratic Congress 3 days to apologize publicly to the Ochehene and compel Kwame Zu to render a personal apology to the Ochehene and also pacify the Ochehene and Ochimang for his unsavory comment during a protest in Kumasi. The Traditional Council also wants the NDC leadership to institute disciplinary action against Kwame Zu. Before we bring you the apology, here's a report on the protest.
The Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, Kwame Zu, passed a derogatory comment against the Ochehene and Ochiman to the effect that, but for the NDC, Ochehene was drinking water from the same source with animals. The comment of the NDC scribe has incurred the wrath of the Traditional Council, leading to a protest and press conference this morning at Chebi. The Traditional Council believes NDC as a political party seems to have a deliberate plan to bring into disrepute the integrity and personality of the Ochehene. They recounted several comments passed against the Ochehene by leading members of the NDC, including former President John Dramani Mahama.
Nanano made the following pronouncements and demands on the national leadership of the National Democratic Congress. That within 3 days, that within 3 days, a direct, clear, and unambiguous public apology be rendered by the leadership of the National Democratic Congress to His Royal Majesty the Ochehene. 2, a ritual pacification be performed to appease His Majesty the Ochehene. 3, an apology rendered personally by Mr. Kwamizu to the Ochehene and a public recantation of the offensive words and specific conduct complained of. 4, invocation of appropriate dismerit sanctions of the party against the conduct of Kwamizu.
The Traditional Council says if the NDC failed to heed to the demand of Nananum, Nananum will not accord the NDC any future request for clemency and redemption of their customary transgression.
Should they choose to ignore this pronouncement and demands, Nananum will not accord them any future request for clemency and redemption of their customary transgressions. If they fail to heed, the National Democratic Congress, its ward executives, branch, constituency, regional, and national executives will be banned from all official functions organized under the auspices of the Oforipenis too, and shall be declared persona non grata in all palaces of the over 940 towns, villages, and settlements in Achimebwakwa. The Chebi Water Expansion Project was initiated by President Kufuor in the year 2007. It was funded by taxpayers of Austria and completed in 2011 under President Mills. We are grateful to the two presidents and also to President Mahama for finding the time to come here to commission it before the 2012 general elections. Chebi has had pipe-borne water since the year 1954, 3 clear years before independent Ghana was born. Certainly, Chebi and its surrounding communities could not have benefited from the political charity and philanthropy of the Mahama administration.
Maxwell Kudako report for Joy News.
So as I indicated earlier, the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, Kwamizu, he has issued a statement to apologize, and I'll bring you his statement. It reads, "It has come to my attention that a statement I made at a demonstration organized by the Coalition for National Sovereignty, which was held in Kumasi on the 19th day of September 2019, has generated a furore. While making a presentation at the said demonstration, I did point out to many ills of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government that threaten our collective existence as a nation. In a very charged atmosphere, I did make a statement regarding the remarkable efforts made by President John Dramani Mahama to provide potable water for inhabitants of Chebi and its surrounding areas, some of whom hitherto were drinking wholesome water. Knowing that the Ochehene, just like most traditional rulers in Ghana, have deep love for the people and at all times empathize with them, I did make a statement to the effect that until potable water was provided for the Ochehene and his people, they drank unwholesome water. The said statement was used in good faith and figuratively to underscore that the Ochehene did not drink different water from his subjects, again flowing from the love he has for his people. After deeply reflecting over the said statement and the interpretation given it by a section of the public, which interpretation is plausible, I wholeheartedly regret for making that statement. I hereby wish to unreservedly render an unqualified apology to the Ochehene, Osajifo Mweta for repenting, the Achimebwakwa Traditional Council, and indeed all Ghanaians for the said statement. I revere and have always revered the chieftain's institution in Ghana, and for that matter, hold the Ochehene in high esteem and would not deliberately undermine the chiefly powers of the Ochehene, who has shown great leadership over the years. Once again, my sincere apologies to the Ochehene, Sajifo Mwetio for repaying, and the Achimebwakwa Traditional Council, and all Ghanaians for my statement. Thank you, and may God bless us all. Meanwhile, the Achimebwakwa Traditional Council has rejected the apology of the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, Kwamizu. Speaking on Newsnight, State Secretary Daniel Manfofore said the statement does not reflect remorse. Meanwhile, the Council considers the issuing of a statement to convey the apology as inappropriate.
For the National Democratic Congress.
Now, mothers of children with special needs want government to establish a free healthcare policy for children with complex medical conditions for the first 5 years of their life. That's a story we have coming up after this break. You're watching Joy News Prime. Do stay tuned. The AMA has moved excavators to Aveno to clear a heap of sand that has been turned into a dump site. This comes barely a month after the Joy Clean Ghana campaign visited the community and arrested a resident for dumping refuse there. Nancy Mefajaradozi reports the residents are so excited about the removal of the unauthorized dump site, they have vowed to ensure it is kept clean.
There is a condition here. My condition and the agreement here is that I want to see brooms here cleaning the place, and we leave the man or I send him away. Simple. So now go and bring brooms and sweep the place or I send the man away.
Inspector Joseph Asitanga instructing residents to clear a dumping site they had illegally created. There was a plea by the residents for the site to be level the heap.
Then we'll see how best we can come to level the place. When we level it out and get all the heap of sand that is here, that gives them let's say, they used leverage to do what they are doing. We level and tidy up the place. Then we take pictures of what is there, set the standard down, then we'll do night monitoring. And you will see effective prosecution here because we'll be arresting them.
On Monday, the AMA moved excavators to the site. Gradually, it fetched out sand mixed with plastics and organic waste, then leveled it. PRO for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ankra, says the move was to keep the place clean.
So as an assembly, we also decided that, okay, we would want to assist the community because they were complaining of heaps of sand all over, being the main reason why people dump here. So we also decided that we would come in with our machines today to come and level the entire area so that people, the residents here, could be able to police the place. Because, you know, the main aim is to ensure that the place looks neat and okay.
But that is not all. The assemblyman for the area, Alfred J, says there are plans to build and create drains to prevent annual recurrence of flooding.
As an assemblyman, I'm also going to ensure that the right thing is done, as always. After this place has been cleared, we are also going to ensure that the man at the washing base try to cement the entire place, try to link the wastewater from the car washing base with some pipes so that you just get into the storm drain.
Meanwhile, residents who were happy with the Joy Clean Ghana campaign also promised to be watchdogs.
I'm the most happiest person because I can see that my words to the assemblyman has not fallen on deaf ears. Because the last time the Joy Clean Ghana campaign started with AMA, they came around, they arrested somebody, you know, I stood in and they listened to me. AMA should, you know, create an enabling environment, you know, platforms for the community people to be linked up to maybe companies around so that we can tap those social responsibility, you know, principles so that, you know, we can get it done. Even without them, you know, we know that we can get help to do some of these things.
The team is on Wednesday. Be on the lookout.
Thousands of Christians across the globe partnered with the International Justice Mission to observe Freedom Sunday, a day church leaders tell their congregants about modern-day slavery. Here in Ghana, the message mainly focused on child trafficking on the Volta Lake, where children are enslaved and used for hazardous work. Amongst the many leaders who have been speaking is former General Secretary of the Christian Council and Senior Pastor of the Calvary Baptist Church at East Legon, Reverend Dr. Fred Degwe, who says Christians have an obligation to create awareness about child trafficking, as there are still many who don't believe the phenomenon exists. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
A 10-year-old boy rescued in May from Edrakota, a fishing community along the banks of Lake Volta, narrating to me how his master used to compel him to dive into the deep lake to untangle fishing nets. He also talks about how his friend died in Lake Volta after he was forced to do the same. These and many other forms of modern-day slavery, like forced labor, forced early marriages, are what the International Justice Mission is partnering churches to fight. Here at the Achimota School, some of the students held placards during church service to demonstrate their commitment to helping others seek justice. Addressing the students, Government Relations Fellow at the International Justice Mission, Kim Hawkins, stated collective effort is needed to combat the menace of child trafficking and modern-day slavery. At the Calvary Baptist Church at Shiashi, East Legon, the message focused on how Christians can join the fight against modern-day slavery. Former General Secretary of the Christian Council and head pastor of the church, Reverend Dr. Fred Digby, stated, there are many who still do not believe the harsh realities of trafficked children being used on Lake Volta. Hence, awareness creation led by the church is important.
One of the greatest enemies we have in our society is ignorance and denial. When we started this campaign some years back as Christian Council, just to get people to admit that there is something called child trafficking, that there are people who are selling their children, there are people who are buying children, there are people who are using children as slaves in the Volta Basin. They said it wasn't true. So I'll say the first one is just the awareness and acknowledgement that it exists.
Country Director of the International Justice Mission, Will Lathrop, who worshipped with the Kaneshi Presbyterian Church, says Freedom Sunday is about the church waking up and pursuing justice for victims of modern-day slavery.
According to the 2016 Global Slavery Index, as many as 40.1 people were living in slavery. Some of them in forced marriages, others in forced labor. Here at the St. Paul's AME Zion Church, prayers have largely focused on how the police, judges, and other institutions can be empowered to help eliminate the menace of child trafficking, especially on Lake Volta.
These children at the St. Paul's AME Zion Church at Medina were not left out in the commemoration of Freedom Sunday as they admonished Ghanaians and citizens of other countries to seek justice. Head pastor of the church, Reverend David Zumbi, shared with the congregation heartbreaking stories about some of the children engaged in fishing on Lake Volta.
The boat owners are rich and wealthy community leaders. They will not openly just release these children like that. Some of these things you go undercover. 4-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy, 5, 6. As early as 2 a.m. A 5-year-old boy was so tired, out of stress. Several of these children are dying. Nobody talks about it. Some of these boat owners, they sit in our churches. They are elders even in our churches.
The message was not different at the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church in Dansoman. There, Director of Advocacy at IJM, Leonard Akon, admonished churches not to shield perpetrators of human trafficking.
All of us must join this cause and help to end child trafficking on the Volta Lake. And for us, one of the key ways is that all of us must understand that it is not part of our culture for anyone to exploit a child. It's not part of our culture for someone to buy a child worth a child for about 200 cedis. I mean, a fishing net is even much more expensive compared to the amount of money these slave masters use in buying a child. So there's no excuse. It's not part of our culture, and it's not child help. I mean, people are simply buying children and doing this with impunity. And so you must understand that this problem exists. Acknowledging that it exists is a significant effort at addressing it. And all of us must be the hands and the feet of God in rescuing these children and also arresting the perpetrators.
Children with special needs want government to establish a free healthcare policy for children with complex medical conditions for the first 5 years of their lives. Speaking at a summit organized by the Special Mothers Project, a mother of a child with Down syndrome, Madam Deborah Mangote, believed this initiative will help such children get all the necessary assessments and therapy recommendations and also help them get early intervention services. There's more in the following report.
Early intervention services for children with special needs have over the years been a great concern for parents and caregivers. This is due to the financial burden imposed on parents caring for such children. In the light of these challenges, the special mothers organized a summit to deliberate on ways of convincing policymakers to address these concerns. Speaking at the summit, mother of a child with Down syndrome, Deborah Mangote, called on government to implement free and comprehensive health insurance policies for such children, at least for the first 5 years.
How about making the health insurance policy free for parents with children with complex health needs? I mean, general, let's say for the first 5 years, so that you can, all the necessary assessments are done, recommendations for therapy and care are given to you, and then post 5 years, you sign on to some form of, because we need to make it sustainable for others as well.
Mother of celebrated software engineer Farida Bedwe, living with cerebral palsy, urged parents to toilet train their wards. Madame Lydia Bedwe believes this will help such children to integrate into society and also be enrolled in school.
But first and foremost, anyway, you should toilet train your children. If you don't treat them normal from the beginning, it becomes difficult. But it should always be fun and games. That's what they understand. It shouldn't be strict, sit. As she's sitting, you are also sitting, or the sister is also sitting. And when you finish, you flush, you say, oh, mommy has finished, and you get up. Because if you don't potty train your child, you can't leave your child anywhere with anybody. How do you expect somebody else to take care of it for you? It hinders the child's ability to go to school.
Mother of a child with osteogenesis imperfecta, Justina Yadombwachi, urged parents to leverage technologies available on the internet to make life much easier for their wards.
We all have phones. We all have YouTube. We can learn the basics and start them on our kids. We don't need to wait till they put these things in our centers before we can do something for them. So we can learn some of these things for ourselves. And you know what? We are trying to change the narrative. We cannot change the narrative by sitting down. We cannot change the narrative by just saying that I don't have pen A. So how best can I get pen A before the narrative will change?
Founder and Executive Director of Special Mothers Project, Hannah Awaji, says the communique will be sent to the relevant ministries, departments and agencies to inform their policy formulation on children with special needs. The forum provided an avenue for the special mothers to share their success stories.
Former Jirapa Member of Parliament Paul Derugova, come September 28, will be the first person in the region to contest parliamentary primaries for both the NDC and the MPP. The 66-year-old businessman contested the NDC parliamentary primary in 2009 and 2011 and lost on both occasions to Dr. Francis Bawana Dakura. He however stood as an independent candidate in 2012 and won. He however lost the seat again in 2016 to his political rival, Dr. Francis Bawana. Paul Derugova joined the MPP and will slug it out with two other candidates, including the Jirapa Municipal Chief Executive, Christine Bombanye Amadou. Joining us, Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam takes a closer look at the election.
The Jirapa constituency used to be a stronghold of the Dankwa Dombo Buzie tradition. In fact, Chief Simon Diedon Dombo, one of the forebears of the new Patriotic Party MPP, held the Jirapa Lambuse seat for close to a dozen years. It is a different ball game, however, today. The performance of the MPP in the Jirapa constituency since the return to constitutional rule in 1992 is pedestrian. It doesn't matter which candidate led the party in the general election. The various flag bearers in all 7 elections polled more votes than the parliamentary candidates. Yet, supporters of the party engage each other in needless confrontation and conflicts. The past couple of years have been murkier for the party as relationship between the municipal chief executive, Christine Bombanya Amadou, and some constituency executives trained. To add insult to injury, some assembly members of the Jiruba Municipal Assembly accused the MCE of breaching procurement procedures in awards of contract, an allegation that CS Council denied.
My hands are very clean. If my hands were not clean, maybe I would have been out of office by now. But my hands are clean.
However, the bad blood that existed between the MCE and the assembly members lingered on for over a year. There was inactivity at the assembly as not a single ordinary assembly session was held during the period, prompting the Jiruba Traditional Council, led by its president, Na Ansole Ghana, and opinion leaders in the municipality to intervene, calling for cool heads to prevail.
You will not want to sit aloof. All along, these things have always been going on, but the chiefs have never come in. But this time, they have decided to let the assembly members know that the chiefs also have a stake, or they are major stakeholders in issues concerning the assembly.
With allegation of procurement breaches now kept on the back burner for now, Christine Bombanya Amadou, a teacher by profession, said she has what it takes to lead the MPP to the 2020 polls.
For a very long time in the constituency, the seat has always been for the opposition NDC. Why is it so? Does it mean that NPP, we don't have credible candidates? We have. That is one of the things that have moved me to go into this contest.
The aspirant, likely going to pose a threat and could flame out her parliamentary ambition, is a man who has been to parliament before. 66-year-old Paul Derugoba contested in 2009 and 2011 in the Jiruba NDC parliamentary primary, but lost on both occasions to Dr. Francis Bawana Dakura. The businessman, severe ties with the party, and contested the 2012 election as an independent candidate and won. He however lost the seat again to his old political foe, Dr. Bawana Dakura, in the 2016 general election. We tried to seek his views on the parliamentary primary, and he blatantly refused.
What am I going to do? I've told I'm not in for any media interaction after my elections. Are you selling cameras on me?
60-year-old Alex Dabozuin is the third parliamentary aspirant. He was born at Jiruba, taught in many schools in the municipality and the region before joining the Controller and Accountant General's office. He said it is a shame that a seat which is their bona fide property for 27 years has continuously eluded them. If given the nod, he wants to restore the heritage of the party.
Know the system, how contracts work, how business is done in the government system. And I'm a unifier. I'm somebody who can bring everybody together, even the floating voters, those, even our people in the other parties. I'll be able to bring them together on board to increase our numbers. You know, politics is about numbers. The more people will get into our group, the better.
So, while Paul Derugoba isn't going to be granted victory on a silver platter by the 639 delegates against Christine Bombanya Amadou and Alex Dabozuin, his experience means he's probably the MPP that the NDC and Cletus Dapola most fears. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Jiruba.
Taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but that'll be it for those of you who are watching on Joy Prime. There's more news though on the Joy News channel. We have Showbiz coming up after international news. Stay tuned. The family of a 38-year-old man who had his genitals severely bruised in a misunderstanding with the police is demanding justice. According to an uncle of the victim, the scuffle broke out after two community police officers at the Techiman division tried to arrest him in his home at New Techiman for allegedly impregnating a 16-year-old girl. Joy News' Henry Kwesibedu has more in the following report.
The medical report cited by Joy News from the medical officer at the Winchi Methodist Hospital states that the victim, Caesar Larry, sustained a deep laceration to the base of the shaft of his manhood and the wound was covered in foreign materials like sand and pieces of grass. The report further stated that he sustained a cut with sharp edges on the tender shaft of his penis. According to the family, 2 community police officers from the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit were dispatched to arrest him. But during the arrest, they peeled off the skin of his manhood.
Some policemen were detailed to go and arrest my nephew. And when they got there, instead of arresting the man as they were detailed, they started beating him. They beat him mercilessly and pulled his manhood and damaged it. And then he was rushed to the hospital. Currently, he's at the hospital, Wenchi Methodist Hospital.
What is the extent of this injury that you talk about to his manhood?
He's seriously injured. I haven't seen it with my naked eye, but he's seriously injured.
And how did it all happen? How did it all happen?
Well, according to the victim, the police, they held the manhood and they were pulling it. So I don't understand, if you have gone to arrest somebody, why you should hold somebody's manhood and be pulling it.
So they pulled it, and what happened to it?
They pulled it, and the skin has come out. The skin peeled off. It peeled off, and it was blood all over the place. And
all over where? In his house?
In his house.
That's where the arrest was taking place?
At the scene, at the place of the beating.
When did this happen?
It happened on the 14th. That was last week, Saturday, on the 14th.
And since then, what has happened? Has the police told you anything?
The police haven't told us anything.
Spokesperson of the family and uncle of the victim, David Larrison, wants justice for his nephew.
We have not been able to identify anybody. We have not been able to identify anybody. What we want a thorough investigation to be made so that we identify these men who did this act, and then probably we'll seek compensation for the victim.
The man is suspected to undergo wound dressing on his penis for the next 2 weeks.
Next. Love you all by way of joining News Prime for today. Up next, we bring you our Hotline documentary. Do stay tuned in.